Hello, welcome back. Okay, we're in Clissold Leisure Centre again today, and the first exercise is a leg extension. So you'll be getting used to the format now. I will edit these videos, especially when there's somebody walking across the camera, or I may actually today blur some of the faces so that you've still got the what's going on in the scene, but without showing people's faces. So we've moved on from the leg extension now to a chest press machine. This is working the pushing muscles of the upper part of the torso, so the chest or pectoral muscles, mainly the front part of the deltoid or shoulder area, back of the arm or tricep. So you'll see me doing a number of sets in these clips. The range of repetitions is anywhere from 5 or 6 reps in the last set if it's a tough weight, and most of the other sets will be around about the 12 rep mark. All the while I am breathing out on the push outwards, breathing in on the way back to the starting position. Make sure you're always breathing all the way through. Interesting thing about this exercise, as I was taking a break, you'll see coming up, the chap next to me asked me about the footrest bar, which is an interesting thing. The where I'm resting my hand at the moment, that's a foot bar. So if you don't use that, it's quite a stretch to reach back for the handle. So what that enables you to do is just push the bars a certain way so you can grab hold of them, also giving you a nice backward range so you get a nice stretch as well. Same on returning the bar to its original position. So the chest press, this is the equivalent of a barbell bench press. It's starting to get tougher as we climb up the weights here. So this is where this chap asks me about the bar. He wasn't sure what it's used for, so I'm just giving him a quick explanation. So that is a really helpful thing to have on the machine as well. Okay, so one more set on this. Last set, we're always trying to take the weight to failure, really work the muscle. In essence, all the preceding sets are, in a way, a warm-up to this final set. Working it until you can't do any more with good form. Last few reps, the toughest of course. Always making sure you're breathing all the way through, right to the very last repetition. Well, obviously I'm resting between exercises, between sets. I'm just doing a little stretch there for the chest, shoulder muscles afterwards. That feels really nice. And then after this, we're going to move on to another part of the body. So we're going to be doing a lat pull down now. This is working the upper back muscles, primarily the latissimus dorsi, which is the wing-like muscle underneath the arm, and covers quite a large part of the upper back. This is a great exercise for that. This time the breath out is as you pull the weight down towards you, breathing in as you return it back up again. So sometimes I will edit out people in the background, unless they're sort of walking away, so we didn't see that lady's face. But sometimes I may just edit sections out to protect people's privacy. That was one such time you noticed just then. This exercise, you try and retract the muscles of the upper back, as in pull them backwards, give them a bit of a squeeze. Try not to tip the neck too far backwards. Coming up to the final few reps there. Okay, so we're moving on to some arm exercises now. We're going to start with the triceps. That's the back of the arm. We're going to use the same machine for both. It's got a nice little cable machine here. Notice I have a palms up grip. It can be done with the palms down. You'll often see this done in the gym with a rope, two-handed version of it. Quite nice to isolate one arm at a time, and that's what I'm doing in this exercise today. Breathing out as you push the hand downwards. And as usual, starting with a light weight, slowly building up, progressing through slowly tougher and tougher resistance against the muscle. Progressive overload or progressive resistance training. Slowly making the muscle work harder. Take it away, feed it, rest it, comes back stronger the next time. It's an adaptation process. Tricep, bicep work as a pair. Tricep is actually slightly larger as a muscle than the bicep. Often somebody quite new to weight training will emphasize the bicep because I suppose it's more of a visual muscle. But in fact, tricep takes up more space in the upper arm, so you do well to give it just as much attention. Tricep and the bicep. Of course, always trying to keep the body balanced, both for aesthetic reasons and also to prevent injuries. If one muscle group is stronger than its opposing muscle group, you don't want that situation. So we try and train both equally, according to the muscle size as well. So an interesting thing with this exercise as well, I've only just started recording these. Now, good form is the most important thing, and I noticed playing back this that you'll see on the final set of this on the other side, in fact, I don't think my form was as good as it should have been, and if I was training a client in person, I would be stopping them through that set and saying, no, that's probably enough there because it's no longer good form. And I decided I'd actually leave it in here to demonstrate really not doing it properly, as in the form wasn't as good as it should have been. So you'll see that. This is the last set coming up on the left. And towards the end there, in order to get the final couple of reps out, you can see my body is kind of twisting a bit. So it's not as safe as I should have been keeping it. The form is not as good as it could be. Already you can see I'm kind of pushing down on one side. So it's really taken that tricep muscle to exhaustion, and then I'm really using the body to get that extra couple of reps out. So possibly not as good a form as I should have made it, but I'm leaving it in there just to sort of demonstrate that principle. Giving a tricep a nice stretch there before we move on to biceps, which is exactly the same machine, same cable, this time working the inside, the front of the arm, the bicep. Opposite movement. That's how this joint and these muscles work. Think you've got the lower arm, you've got the upper arm, and to in order to bring the lower arm or the hand towards the shoulder, you have to flex or contract the bicep. And on the tricep exercise we've just done, in order to take the hand back away from the shoulder, straighten the arm, particularly against resistance, you have to use the tricep. You have to flex or contract the tricep. So they work as a pair. Muscles work in pairs. That's in essence how our bodies move. Bones move towards each other, away from each other, using either one muscle or the opposite muscle to work in those directions. Very simple, straightforward, but fascinating, beautiful piece of machinery, the human body. But like I say, very straightforward and simple when you really look at it. Bicep and tricep. Today I'm training them together. You don't have to. You could train them on separate occasions. You can group the body in various ways. So I'm training the entire arm, but you could split it up so that you train triceps with muscles that are doing the same kind of pushing movement, and then train the bicep with other groups of muscles where we're doing more pulling movements. That's just a classical push-pull split routine. And normally that would be chest, shoulders, triceps on one day, and then perhaps back, and there are a variety of combinations, perhaps back, legs, and biceps another day. And like I say, there are infinite variations. Well, not infinite. There are a lot of different ways of grouping muscles. If you have any questions, please do. Don't hesitate to send me a message, ask. I'll do my best to answer it. Perhaps even put together a video to answer questions that people have about these workouts or about anything else. I'm not taking much rest between these sets, and this is not edited, this section, so I'm simply going from one to the other. Because when you think about it, one arm is having a rest while the other one is working. So all you really need is enough time to catch your breath before going back to the muscle that has actually had a rest while you train the other arm. And exercises like we saw earlier, like the leg extension or the chest press, that's working everything at once, so it's better to have a little bit of a rest between sets, more of a rest between sets than you would on an exercise where you're training one limb followed by the opposite side. This is only the second workout video, so I am very keen to hear what you think and any feedback you might have about these as to whether we carry on, or if you have any suggestions, absolutely open to that. At the moment I'm simply recording parts of a workout that I would actually do myself, but if I have feedback as to what people would want to see, I can always tailor it or make the video specifically to address those types of questions. Now here I'm just stretching the bicep, very simple stretch against a wall or an upright. Notice the palms facing inwards, slightly turning the hand out so that you can feel the bicep. You can angle it so you really focus on that bicep stretch. Really nice bicep stretch, by the way, this one. Straightforward but effective. Looks like I'm grimacing some of the time, but these do actually feel nice, and that should be how any stretch feels, pleasant rather than unpleasant. I'm about to finish here, so I hope you've got something out of this. Like I say, I'm open to suggestions or feedback, and I'll see you again soon.